It's never a good idea to defect into North Korea as a US soldier, but for Travis King, who defected into North Korea willingly, this is the absolute worst time he could have pulled this stunt if he ever has any hopes of coming back soon. The Pentagon cannot get in touch with North Korea, South Korea is hosting the United States' nuclear sub, and North Korea is in the middle of launching ballistic missiles. Here's the Pentagon essentially saying we cannot get in touch with North Korea, but we are trying.
Do you have any knowledge, perhaps through intelligence, that Private King is alive?
Well, that's something that we're focused on. We're focused on our priority focus, and what the Secretary reiterated at the beginning of this week was that we want to bring him home. We don't know his condition. We don't know where he's being held. We don't know.
And there's a lot of people out there who are saying, don't bring him back home. There's people out there saying, do bring him back home. The family wants him back home. But 100% the Pentagon wants to bring him back into their possession. I mean, consider this. And as a former U.S. soldier and anyone who's ever served in the U.S. military, we are government property.
The status of his health. But we are working with the interagency through the DOD, through the NSC and state, really pulling all levers of government here to try and find out more. We don't know his motivations for why he did not board the plane.
I mean, it probably had something to do with the fact that he punched a couple people in the face in South Korea, and he was about to be getting in a lot more trouble in the United States, if I had to take a guess.
We don't know what he did in the hours between when he left the airport and when he crossed over into the DPRK. What I can tell you is that the soldier's current duty status is absent without leave. That's all I can say right now. It's hard. I can't say.
Okay, absent without leave means AWOL for those of you, but I mean, they have to say that.
What he was thinking at the time. This is a very difficult situation. I can't imagine what his family's going through. All I can say is that our priority is to bring him home.
Okay, so again, we have confirmation from the Pentagon that they do want to bring back home Travis King, which is a good thing. There's many people out there who say, don't bring him back, we're wasting our time, but he is a U.S. soldier. They're going to bring him back regardless of the people he punched in the face and the cop car he destroyed. Nonetheless, I want to show you what's happening in North Korea right now. Again, Private King couldn't have chose a worse time to defect into North Korea.
It seems there's praise all round in North Korea after its latest test of an intercontinental ballistic missile. State media reports leader Kim Jong-un personally guided the launch of the Hwasong-18.
He personally guided the launch. The leader of North Korea does everything. Didn't his dad also get like a perfect game of golf where he got a hole-in-one in like every shot? Leave a comment down below. I'm almost positive that's a thing.
Intercontinental ballistic missile on Wednesday, which flew for 74 minutes before crashing down in the waters near Japan, the longest flight ever carried out by this ICBM. It was a solid fuel missile. It's been called the North's most powerful nuclear weapon, but it's unclear if it could actually deliver a nuclear payload.
Now, the confusing part for me and you is that North Korea only gets covered whenever there's a missile test. And so in our minds, we automatically assume this is happening every single day, 24/7, but this is simply not true. It just so happens that this is happening right now while Private King decided to defect into North Korea. So you're starting to see why North Korea doesn't really have time or really need to answer to the United States in some sort of prisoner exchange or some sort of hope that they would even get back in contact with the United States. These missile tests are like the biggest deal ever in North Korea. It's broadcasted all over state television. And again, the leader of North Korea, he's the one who designed these missiles. He's the one who's guiding these missiles. So it's seen as a really, really big deal. I suggest if you haven't, you should go and look into some North Korean documentaries, and at some point during the documentary, it's going to talk about ballistic missiles 100%. But anyway, here's how the United States is sort of responding, and again, the situation happening over in South Korea, why this is making everything very difficult.
Most people will be aware, the United States Navy's ballistic missile submarine, the USS Kentucky, has been visiting Busan in South Korea since Tuesday. It's highly significant because it contains Trident missiles, which are normally associated with strategic nuclear deterrence.
Now, I'm going to say this. I always find it weird whenever the United States announces they're in an area, especially with one of their most high-tech pieces of equipment. But to up the ante, I guess I never imagined that they're just having these tours with the president of South Korea just openly, like, hey, this is one of our most expensive pieces of equipment, and we're showing it off right now on your state television, and everyone knows we're here.
In the past, there have been visits by nuclear-powered submarines from the U.S. Navy.
Like, they are literally in the middle of a tour right now, like we're at an amusement park.
But this is the first time that a ballistic missile submarine has visited South Korea. We in the free world have had an ongoing problem with Korea for some time now. They developed a nuclear capability with an associated missile capability in the early 2000s.
Yeah, many people think like China is the biggest threat in the Pacific, but I think economically they are. As far as like anything that could pop off or somebody who could just do whatever they want, North Korea has absolutely nothing to lose. And I think we're stuck in this delusional state that we think we can save North Korea. They're at the point of no return. Those people, I don't like to use the word brainwashed, but they were raised up in a culture where they think like if the United States shows up, they're going to perform some sort of 99 wizardry on them. So like, it's a very dangerous and complex situation, and I don't know if it's something that will ever get resolved.
And they've been progressively testing and developing that capability ever since. And whenever they are in trouble politically or economically, the regime tends to saber rattle with its nuclear weapon.
What did I just tell you? The nuclear weapons program in North Korea, that is like their thing. We celebrate freedom and democracy in the United States. China celebrates their innovations and their willingness to trade throughout the world, and they celebrate ballistic missiles.
And in recent months, there have been specific threats about using nuclear weapons against South Korea, against Japan, or indeed exploding one over the sea. So the United States wants to make a very powerful impression on the region and also on North Korea.
Now, I was trying to figure out who the United States was actually talking to or who their point of contact was within North Korea, and the only information I could find is that earlier State Department spokesman Matthew Miller told a briefing the Pentagon had reached out, quote-unquote, reached out to counterparts in North Korea, Korean People's Army about King. So obviously we're not going to get that information, but nonetheless, it is interesting. We're sort of seeing an insight in how the United States has to deal with North Korea. I mean, the one thing that really comes to mind, the last time where we actually had some sort of positivity or some sort of way that we are almost coming together was when President Trump actually stepped over the border and talked to the people of North Korea. But in this situation, I'm not seeing it being a good thing, unfortunately, for the family of Mr. King and for the people who want him back. Right now is a terrible time, and I wouldn't expect any positive news to come anytime soon, just to prepare you mentally. Whenever there's ballistic missile tests going off, this means that, again, they want something or something is going down within North Korea. This is a show of power. Now, from here, what do we do? What exactly is going to happen? Obviously, there's going to be a constant push every single day to get this soldier back. I'm not kidding when I say every soldier or every U.S. military member, you are government property, and the government always wants their money back. They want their property back. And I just want to keep reiterating the fact, in case some of you are new to North Korean geopolitics, is that ballistic tests means there's no talking to North Korea. And the only way you're going to be able to talk to North Korea is if that nuclear sub leaves South Korea, which we'll see what happens. I'm sure they will leave, but they will still be in the waters. Now, if you ask me if Private King wants to come back to North Korea, and I'm only basing this off of other defectors who went into North Korea, he's going to have to show a willingness to want to come back. He needs to be combative. He has to not answer anything. And I know that's harder said than done because who knows what's happening to him right now. But for the people who wanted to stay in North Korea, it's not that they had the best lives ever, but the main thing that they all had in common is that they were willing to conform to North Korean ideologies. Now, I can't say if that was forced on them or if they wanted to be there, but the only evidence we have is that some of them were movie stars, a lot of them had families, and then they've had interviews and movies done about them saying, hey, look, I didn't live the worst life. But I lived an okay life in North Korea. It's not as bad as all of you are saying. Now, if Travis King does that, he's probably going to be used as a propaganda tool and marched around North Korea. And again, I know this sounds crazy, but go look into the defectors who've gone into North Korea. It's the same thing over and over. Everybody who wants to come back puts up a good fight. Unfortunately, some of them don't come back in a stable condition, but they come back. For those of them who want to stay, they conform into North Korean ideologies. And if any of you are expecting some sort of SEAL Team 6 extraction process within North Korea, that's 100% not going to happen. Getting access into North Korea is quite difficult for anybody. We have satellite imagery capabilities. We have the ability to get in contact with them. We have the ability to reach out via radio signals and try to reach out other North Koreans. But other than that, there's not going to be any extraction. There's not going to be any sort of prisoner swap within the country. It's going to have to take some sort of diplomacy, monetary means, or some sort of political means. Like, we will allow North Korea to do something, or we will send them some grain. That's the only way North Korea, I see, in my opinion, for them to cooperate. But you guys let me know what you think. Do you think there's any future for Private King? Do you think they're going to march him around like he's some sort of circus and show the people of North Korea, look, we've captured a U.S. soldier. He tried to infiltrate us. He's a spy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I think this is an unfortunate opportunity to look into North Korean geopolitics, but I think North Korea is overlooked because of their ballistic missile test. The only time you ever get to look into North Korea is when that happens. There's not a lot else happening within North Korea unless, again, you really look for it. And this is an opportunity to bring history to you and to follow a story that's quite unique in that a U.S. soldier, again, is in the hands of North Korea willingly, which is absolutely insane. So again, leave your comments and opinions down below. Let me know what you guys think about this entire circus. I think it's absolutely wild, and maybe we'll see a future where Mr. King does return back to U.S. soil. Comments and opinions down below. Love all you guys. We'll see you later.